you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, so roll call. Leone here. Steve here.
Yeah.
Sweet. Discuss survey. So thank you guys for meeting 30 minutes early. It's tough, I know, to try to do this in like the full-on meeting. But so I know that Ed wanted us to get the survey, like have it by the end of August, like publicly, right? So I guess the two things I want to discuss are, one, what venue do we want to launch the survey in? And then two, what 10 questions we want to talk about or have on the survey. So I'll start with the first one. I'm partial to SurveyMonkey. It's free.
Mhm.
It's easily distributable to everybody, right? You can throw it on the Bridgewater town page and the Bridgewater Facebook residents Facebook page. And there's like two other ones that seem to be relatively popular. What do you two think about that?
Agreed.
Yeah, absolutely.
I use it all the time, so I have a level of comfort with it.
Sweet. Do we have any expectations on how many people we think are going to respond to that?
I bet
So
between 70 and 100. It seems like that's kind of like how many people are typically active within the like the Facebook page.
Mm-hmm. I would say anything over 5 I would consider a success, in my opinion.
Oh, wow.
oh, that's huge. I would say 300.
Oh, wow.
But yeah.
All right. So I think that's something we can say to Ed. We can use SurveyMonkey. Our target is 500 responses. And I would say leave it open for either at least 2 weeks up to a month. I don't know how you two feel about that time frame.
I guess I've
long.
never thought about that. I don't have an opinion either way. At least 2 weeks, but I would say no longer than a month. Yeah.
So you want to settle in the middle and have 3 weeks, or?
I mean, the timeline, how long we open it is dictated by that deadline, right?
Sure.
Say that again, Chloe.
How long we have it open is dictated by the deadline that we have, the end of August. So if we are really productive and we get it done in advance, and it's 3 weeks, then, we just launch it with a minimum of having the survey distributed no less than 2 weeks out from that deadline he's looking for.
So like the drop dead day would be August 15th then, right? To get it live.
Okay, yeah.
Right.
And then if we can get it done sooner, great. And then, I mean, for SurveyMonkey, you have the aggregate results instantaneously. Like we're not gonna, I don't intend on, and you two can tell me if I'm wrong, making it a open-ended, straight multiple choice kind of thing. Yes, no's.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
I think so. And I think that if you give them, I think 2 weeks is probably the best option. If we give it too much time, then people will forget about it, right? If you post it on Facebook, it's just it'll disappear.
Right. I think posting it on Facebook and putting it on the, sorry, someone's at my front door. Posting it on Facebook and the town website, I think would be the best too. And then if we wanted to ask, like if the library or schools are open by then, which I don't think is realistic, we could post it there, but given the situation, right?
Yeah, and I mean, I would consider, would like to propose that we, for groups that have an email list, to have them send the link out to those email lists for those, because if we rely just on social media, we lose a group of people. So I know we're not doing paper and we don't have the capacity to do paper, but to determine what groups tend to have pretty big listservs, the churches, Girl Scouts, any of the sports organizations, my group, there's some groups that rely on their listserv. So consider disseminating it in that way as well.
So this might be a question for Ed then, but I don't know, do we have any limitations on what kind of groups we can ask to send it out?
It should be groups that citizens participate in, right? Because we're trying to get input from Bridgewater citizens.
Right, but like, so when you said the churches, that was the one that caught my ear. Like, I don't know if we're allowed to do that. I would hope so, like, as long as we're not selective on which.
If they've opted into emails, we should be fine, right? The town email.
Yeah. So I think that's a good idea too, Cleone, is like come up with a quick, short email and ask those groups to just like forward it out with the link in it. Like that should be real simple. All right.
So August 15th.
That would be the latest.
That gives us.
If we could get it out earlier, like if we can put it together and get it sent out earlier, I think that would be just as beneficial. And the only reason I say that is because I think a lot of the end of August for a lot of people, particularly those with families, is going to be like, don't curse, Tom. Panic time is the word I'm going to use. Trying to figure out either school or daycare or childcare arrangements and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that would be my only caution on towards the end. So, but the latest would be August 15th. We'd get return results by August 31st. I think that's fine. I think Ed will be fine with that. We can talk to him about it in 23 minutes.
So in thinking about that August 15th deadline, when should we have that second, the first draft, second draft, and then kind of, because what we should consider, right, with surveys, we should always have like a beta group to test the questions to make sure that they are well understood. So we need that time to either maybe having the other committee members answer the survey, give us feedback, so then we can have that final version of the survey. Yeah. So, I mean,
I would say like the sooner we can get a draft together, the better. It's 10 questions. So I tried to do it, and honestly, I got a little busy at work this week. I didn't get to it, but to try to pull some other towns that have done surveys for their charters, even not in Massachusetts. I started to go on a little bit around further out New England. And I don't want to say steal, but liberally borrow the concepts from that for at least 5 or 6 of the questions. I know one of the questions that Ed really wants us to have is about the recall, whether or not there should be a recall provision added to the town charter, right? I know that he was pretty adamant about that. I think there's that one, and then term limits was the second one, and how that is handled, particularly after what happened in district or precinct, whatever it's called, 6 at the last election. So really, we only need to come up with 8 more questions, I think. A maximum of 8 more questions. We don't have to do it right now. So my thought would be maybe if we took like a week or so to think about it and then regroup, come up with the draft 10, trying to open my calendar, but my computer won't do that. So I'm going to open it on my phone.
So you want to focus
maybe
on
2 weeks
on 10 items only?
Yep. So SurveyMonkey for free will only let you do 10 questions.
Okay.
After that, honestly, people will start to lose interest. The ideal survey is supposed to be 5 questions or less, because you'll get honest, true responses. People don't get tired of reading. But I think if we're going to do a mass blast, having the opportunity to get 10 data points would be really good.
And it's going to even be less than that because we need to get demographics to confirm that they're from Bridgewater. So that's going to eat up some of those questions, right? Are you from Bridgewater? Whatever. So, but we can expect to at least commit 2 of those questions to that demographic.
So, all right. So maybe we only need 5 other questions, right? Because if we have 2 to 3 to that, and then the 2 that we already know for the term limits and so 5 more questions. I think that's, in my opinion, that should be stupid easy for the 3 of us to come up with.
Yeah.
So my thought would be maybe if we can each come up with our own, 3 or 4, and then regroup in a week and hash them out real quick, and that's our 10, and then move on, and to pitch them to Ed, which on our next meeting is with the CR, with that group would be the 5th. So maybe. Sometime in the next 2 weeks, let's have a meeting, and then on the August 5th meeting with the full CRC, we can go over the questions in the survey, and then in theory, on the 6th, send it to the people, put it on the Facebook page. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Is that too
Makes sense.
Wait,
aggressive?
say that again.
So today's the 15th of July, right? We don't meet as a full charter review committee again for 3 weeks. So the 22nd and the 29th of July, we won't meet with them. So the next time would be August 5th.
Mhm.
So my thought would be either next week or the week after, we get together and hash out our questions and come up with a template of 10. Present that to the full CRC on the 5th of August. When we get
So
the
you're-
okay from the whole group,
So
then
you're
we
going to
can
do
be
an
ready to
update,
send it out.
or a subcommittee update on the 5th.
Yeah.
Okay.
Does that
Yeah.
work? That makes sense to everybody?
Makes sense to me. Is
Right, and then shortly after August 5th, we'll have them test it. We could even have them test it in the meeting.
That's what I'm saying.
If,
Yeah.
yeah, okay. Yep.
And then, so in theory, it would be done on the 5th. I can spend a day or two there getting the draft letter email that we can send to the larger group, get it ready for Facebook, and then push it live on August 15th.
okay.
Which would be 10 days after that meeting. Like, that should be more than enough time to collect all that, right?
Yeah.
So the only thing I think that we would need, so if we can all come up with our questions over the next week or two, we'll find a common time that we can all meet again for like 30 minutes and be super efficient. And then if we can find listservs or people or groups that we think have listservs we want to use for email, bring those to that next time we get together.
Okay. Easy enough.
Right? Like, this seems like a quick and easy thing. You guys have anything else you want to talk about, or do you want 15 minutes break before we get to the full CRC meeting?
Let me just look at my notes here. So.
Oh, hey, Ed.
I think we will also, I have in my notes here that we were going to kind of coordinate with town employees about helping with the marketing, so that you mentioned that, right? Having the town send out a blast as well.
Yep.
Okay. Yep, that's all I had.
And I can do that. I can reach out to the chairs and say, hey, or not the chairs, the department heads, and say, we're going to do the survey. Would you be willing to be not a middle person, but
A conduit for us,
to send it out when we get it finalized?
Yep.
Sweet.
Yeah,
Sounds
easy
good.
Good
peasy.
efficiency.
So
Love
yeah,
it.
we'll. Do you want to put it on the calendar when we'll meet again, so that we can get Josh
Sure.
to make it legit?
So I know I had asked about lunchtime meetings. It's just because that's when we have daycare available or childcare
Okay.
available.
Yeah.
But if nighttime works, we can if we're going to be this efficient, I can walk away for 30 minutes generally pretty regularly.
Well, because of all this COVID, I'm pretty flexible. Unless I'm actually standing post somewhere, I'm pretty good to go whenever you guys want. So all good. I might do it on the road, but just be on my phone holding it.
I mean, that's fine by me.
Yeah.
Cleone, you probably have the most rigid schedule of the three of us.
If I can get these things done in the daytime, that's great, because I'm kind of cutting into the family time. So
Same.
lunchtime is the time that I would prefer as well. And you were looking at next week, correct?
Either next week or the week after, like maybe next Wednesday at noon, the 22nd.
I'm fine with that.
The 22nd at noon. Yes, I'm good to go.
All right, let's put it on the books.
Very good.
And I'll send the agenda and everything over to Josh and let them disseminate it and all that good stuff. And I don't think there's any like pre-reading our materials beforehand, but if there is, I'll do that the way that we need to do that.
So we don't need to make a motion or anything. You just set the next meeting, and then Josh is good with that. Right?
Yep.
Okay.
As a subcommittee, that's my understanding. I've been wrong once today, might as well be twice.
And I don't know if you got, so there's a survey that was done by a couple of committees in town that I think we should take a look at. We've gotten a lot of documents, and I think the government restructure committee did a survey, and we have that somewhere. I can take a look at that to see if there are any questions or best practices that we haven't considered today.
Was that one of the ones that Ed sent out originally? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll you know what I'll do? I'll try to collect that stuff, and then the
Okay.
3 or 4 from the other towns, and then I'll send it out as a group if you want, Cleone. You've got enough to do otherwise.
Thank you.
So I'll do that.
Okay.
I'll try to have it done by like Tuesday. Well, I have to have it done by Monday because it's gonna be 48 hours in advance, right? So there's my answer.
And Chelmsford has one, just to give you a lead if you haven't come across that one yet.
Yeah. So Chelmsford, there was one in Coscob, Connecticut. For the 2 that seemed most relevant. So, but I'll do that between that and the top ones we've already done in town. Like that should be fine.
Cool.
Sweet.
Yeah, that works.
Perfect.
So
How much time do we have now?
we got 13 minutes
13
left.
minutes.
So
Get
go get a
yourself some
snack.
water. Yeah.
See you at 7 o'clock.
All right.
A
Thank
motion
you.
to adjourn?
Cleone, you
Yes,
want a
yeah.
second?
Second that motion.
Unanimous consent. Adios.
All right. Take care.
All right, bye.